The following video is going to explain how to build the enrollment process for your study. This includes both front-end and back-end enrollment, as well as the various steps. So anything from screening eligibility surveys to administering baseline surveys to the informed consent, W-9 collection, device upload, so on and so forth. So when you log into your study, you will be taken to the Manage Study tab. Before you can actually build the enrollment process, you will want to make sure that you have pulled in all of your surveys that you need for enrollment, as well as set up any devices that are required for enrollment. If you have any questions about how to do these, you can visit other videos to see how to set these up, but I'll just quickly click into them. And you'll see we've already pulled in our screening survey and our informed consent survey. And for devices, we've set up our Fitbit that we're going to use. So let's go to the Enrollment tab. When you get here, you'll see some locked steps that are required in order to enroll someone in the study. So let's start first with a walkthrough of how it would be to enroll on Way to Health. So the first thing that we want to do is add in a profile step. So I'm going to call this profile, and anything that you put here in this name box is what the participant will see if they are enrolling on the front end, so if they're enrolling themselves. And once you add in that step, Way to Health will ask the participant for various pieces of information, including contact information, phone number, email address, home address, notification preference, date of birth, etc. There's nothing you need to do for that step. So then the next thing that we're going to want to do is add in our informed consent. So once we get their contact information, we want to make sure that they are okay to participate in the study. So the informed consent is actually administered as a survey. So I'm going to do add new survey. And then it's going to ask me to pull in that survey. So you'll see here is our informed consent survey. And I'm going to add profile as a prerequisite. So this means that they have to complete the profile step before they can complete the informed consent step. It will lock the informed consent until they have completed the profile. So I'm going to add that in. And you'll see that our informed consent is now in there. And we can go ahead and build feedback. So if a participant says that they don't want to participate in the study, we're going to want to screen them out and stop them from moving forward. So let's click feedback. So we're going to do if completed, and it's going to ask us for the question. So if they say they don't want to participate, then we're going to make them ineligible. And you're going to want to put in your message to the participant here. And whenever you have an ineligibility criteria, it will also send an incident to your notification preference as a study team member. And we're going to save this. And then after the informed consent, once we know that they want to participate, we want to see if they're actually eligible to participate. So we're going to administer in a screening or an eligibility survey. So we're going to do another survey. I'm going to call this screening survey. I'm going to pull in my screening survey. And I'm going to add informed consent as a prerequisite. Great, so now that we've pulled in that survey, we want to build our feedback off of that survey. So this is where we will determine what makes someone eligible and or not eligible. So if they complete the survey, and then it's gonna pull in our questions from our screening survey. So we want to do if any of the following are true. So if any of these answers are going to be selected. So what's going to screen someone out? So are you 18 years of age or older? If they say no, we want to screen them out. If they say that they're pregnant or plan to become pregnant, we would like to screen them out. So if they say yes. And let's say if they say that they don't own a smartphone, we want to screen them out. So if any of these are true, then we want to make them ineligible. And again, this is where you'll put that message to them. Okay, and we'll save that. So now if someone is screened out, they'll be immediately held and they will not be able to move past this screening survey to our next steps. And again, you will be notified as a study team member that someone was screened out in case you want to verify it, or if you want to reach out to them, etc. So now that we know that they're eligible, we want to administer our W-9. So W-9 is where we collect the Social Security number. And collecting a Social Security number is a requirement of all Way to Health studies that are paying participants. So if you have any kind of lotteries, if you're paying participants for completing any weigh-ins or any kind of labs or surveys, enrollment payments, anything like that, you have to administer a W-9. And again, we want this to be after the screening because we don't want to collect a Social Security number from anyone who is not eligible to participate. And Way to Health will prompt them for that W-9, so there's nothing that you need to do on this step. So this is a basic enrollment process for a participant, but let's also look at some of these extra steps that we can add in. The first one we'll look at is a pause enrollment. So this could be used if a study team needs to verify some information about a participant. So I'm going to call it verification. And basically it will pause the participant from moving forward in enrollment until a study team member goes in and unpauses them. So this could be used if you need to check to make sure that a participant completed an A1C reading, for example, or you wanted to hold a certain number of participants until you reached 20 or 50. You can pause them from moving forward. So then the next option is a device authorization. So a device authorization will require the participant to put in their credentials for their device that you're using. So for example, in this study we want to use a Fitbit. So let's call it Fitbit authorization. We're going to pull in that Fitbit here. So what will happen is when the participant is enrolling themselves on the front end, when they get to this step, Way to Health is going to ask them to put in their Fitbit account credentials. So their username and their password for their Fitbit account, which you will have explained to them that they'll need to set up before they get to this step. And then this allows Way to Health to then henceforth collect any step count data from their Fitbit. And this is really important because it verifies before a participant has been randomized or started in the study that they're going to let Way to Health collect their information. So the next thing that you could do is also require that the participant uploads some kind of biometric data from their device. So again, we're going to pull in from the Fitbit. This will be after the authorization. So what this will do is after the participant has authorized Way to Health to collect their step counts, they then need to send at least one step count data point over before they can move forward. And again, this just verifies that a participant has actually set up their device and we're receiving data from their device before they're randomized into an arm and started. Okay. And then the next thing and last thing is adding an enrollment block. So an enrollment block creates a set of encounters that must be completed prior to moving forward, and this is usually done on the back end by the study team, or it's done through what we call a run-in period. So let's do a run-in period. So after they've set up their device, and I'll show you what we mean here. So you'll see this enrollment block looks a little bit different. Instead of feedback, it has schedule. So I'm going to click into schedule, and this is where I'm going to add my encounters. So for a run-in period, we want to collect Fitbit data from this participant. And we'll do this, for a week. So we'll set this up here, and every single day we'll want to collect a week's worth of Fitbit data for a participant prior to randomizing and starting them in the study. You can also, besides run-in, you can also administer a survey that's completed by the study staff. So let's say it's a weight loss study. You'll select survey, you'll pull in your survey source, and we'll do initial weight. So a study team member will enter in the participant's starting weight into this survey. And again, this is something that is done on the back end, and it is not done by the participant. And that is how you build the enrollment process. So let's go back here. You'll see all of our enrollment steps here. If you want to see what it looks like to enroll a participant on the back end, so this is something that you would do either over the phone or with the participant in person, we can do create a new participant. And anything with an asterisk is a required field. You can just put in random numbers, it doesn't matter here. We're going to save this. And then now you'll see that this participant profile has been completed, which is actually the first step of the enrollment process. And if we want to go to enrollment, we can either click over here on the left, or we can click the enrollment button. And you'll see that the first step is doing the profile, and you'll be able to walk through every single step. So the next step that is required is highlighted in yellow, and then anything that is after that that has a prereq attached to it will essentially be grayed out. So I cannot complete the informed consent, for example, until I complete the profile. And this is what it will look like if you are to enroll your participants. Now, if a participant was to enroll themselves on the front end, let's see what that would look like. So you'll want to go to your study's landing page, the front end dashboard. You'll want to enroll. And this is going to send us a verification link. Uh-oh, what did we do? Oops. Let's try this. Great. So Wait Health is going to send us or our test participant an email to verify our account. And here we go. And we're going to click verify our account. And now you're going to be taken to the enrollment overview for our participants. So you'll see what it would be like for them. So again, like we saw on the back end, the first step is going to be the profile. So they'll click view and they'll go through all of the steps, and the ones with the prereqs will be locked until they complete the previous steps. But here they can get a little bit of an overview of what's next to come. And this is it for building the enrollment process and viewing it on the back end and the front end.